Hello, and welcome to the Artist Pivot Podcast. My name is Ayana Major Bay, and well, I'm your host. I am on a mission to educate, empower, and celebrate artists so they have no option but to thrive. This is a weekly conversation with artists about their current pivot, past pivots, and every pivot in between that I hope will remind other creatives that we innately have it in us to reevaluate and adapt. When I'm not podcasting, my world is full of voiceovers, musical theater, mentoring, travel, and some cooking and baking. But enough about me. Let's get on with the show. On this episode, we're doing a little something different and taking a look back at our top 3 downloaded episodes of Season 1. Well, technically it's the top 4 because there's a tie for the third most downloaded. As of today, November 3rd, 2021, the most downloaded episode of Season 1 was episode 105, entitled Know Your Worth, featuring dancer, singer, and model Tempest Perrin. Our second was episode 104, Who Are We Now?, featuring actress, blogger, and former Disney vocalist, Salisha Thomas. Our tie for third most downloaded episode in Season 1 is between episode 103, Creative Energy, featuring cultural coordinator, performer, and director Tavia Reve, and episode 106, Perspective of Abundance, featuring actress Martina Sykes. Here is a little clip from each of those episodes. Tempest Perrin.
For me, mentally, again, like you had already mentioned before, this is temporary. This is not going to be forever, even though it feels like forever. But it really isn't. Y'all, like, I just feel like time is going by so fast already.
It is.
Clearly, like, it's going to be very temporary. So just don't think that it's going to last forever because it's not. Seasons change as they constantly do. And we're just in a different season right now. And for my mindset, it's just reminding, for me, I personally have been, well, because I have the time to now, I'm a journaler. So I always write and I've been starting to write gratitudes of what I'm thankful for, but also been looking back at like past journals, like entries that I had. And a lot of it has to do with, with almost a lot of auditions that I've done or shows that I booked or shows that I didn't book and things like that. And it's just like, oh, wow. You just forget how much you've already accomplished or how much you've already prevailed or grown in, you know what I mean? And we just forget that. And we just really take that for granted sometimes and just be grateful, just be thankful for what you already done. And like, this is not it. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep growing if you choose to. That's the thing. You don't want to stay stagnant because life isn't stagnant at all. So I would just encourage others to keep their mindset of, okay, if I have to change something, well, we just have to change for a little bit.
Salisha Thomas.
Yeah, like my building where I live in New York was under construction. Like the entrance was under construction for so long. And I saw the contractor almost every day. And one day he spoke to me. He's like, I don't have a good Irish accent, but he was like, "You're the actress."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I guess I am." Like, ooh, and it felt so good to be the actress in the building. Like, but that's the thing. It's like, that can't be our identity because what happens when it's stripped away? Who are we now? Like, does that mean that we're nobody? Does that mean that we're worthless, useless? But we've got to figure out who we are without titles, without like the thing that we do, not doing it on a daily basis or on a regular basis. Now, who are we? And so like that has been I will say that I have had a positive experience investigating that because it's not, I don't feel alone, like that I'm the only one trying to figure it out right now. I do feel like there's a lot of people who have lost their jobs. And right now our whole industry is obliterated. It's like, I'm not the only one. It's not like, oh, I did a bad job and now like, what am I? No, it's like, no, we're all going through this together. And so I know, so I have found other things like blogging and writing, but like I'm trying to be careful to not be the writer.
Yeah.
to be the blogger, to be, it's like, how can I go forth without continually finding peace in like these
the titles,
yeah.
Tavia Reve.
And it was directed by a Latinx woman, written by two young white men from Baldwin Wallace. And it's the content surrounds 1964 Mississippi, two white men and one black man who were killed in 1964 Mississippi. So the cast was half black, half white. Okay. And I came in as an assistant director. The director was a friend of mine, and she was like, I could use your eye and your ear on this. Can you, come in and help? And I was like, absolutely, I'd love to. Mm-hmm. So I walked in as the assistant director, really anticipating just kind of being in the background, and ended up taking on a much larger role in communicating, kind of translating to a degree, editing content, moderating discussions regarding racial sensitivity and cultural issues that were in the script. There were times where I had to go to the writers and be like, we don't talk like this, like we would never say this. So, I ended up kind of consulting them on some of the edits that needed to be made in the script and provided some script adjustments. I remember moderating a conversation about the use of the N-word, and one of the Black actresses was speaking vehemently about some of her experiences and feelings, and and I had to later kind of translate for the creative team, this is what she was feeling in these moments. I don't want you to be intimidated by this behavior. I don't want you to feel nervous or be unnerved by that. It was not explosive or hostile or volatile towards you. This was speaking to her experience. And I think there's a way that we can wrap that into the content, and so it ended up being a really wonderful experience. I think that I ended up being a valuable resource for both the creative team and for the actors. And so as I was building the structure, I really recalled that situation and how beneficial I think it was for everyone to have kind of a dramaturgical, somebody that worked on multiple levels as far as the racial content was concerned. And so, it wasn't like I just created the role and was like, oh yeah, this would be a good idea. I'd actually done it before. It was like, I've actually done this before. I know how this should look and how this should work. And I think that we need to implement it in as many entertainment spaces as possible.
Martina Sykes.
So it's time to really value ourselves more, and not to say we're not in a place of privilege because we get to do what we love on such a high level, and that the money isn't great. It is, but we still need to value ourselves enough to know when we're not being treated fairly and when to stand up for what is fair.
That's true. And I think that, we were talking earlier about 2020, the perspective, and how this year has forced us to change our perspectives. And, now to know, okay, no, I am worth this, and I am capable of this and worth this. And since, put those two together, this is what I have to offer. And if you do not want to accept it, then that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, 2020 is all about the inner work. You have nothing but time to become better spiritually, emotionally, physically, creatively, mentally, everything, to learn the things that you weren't able to learn, and to learn the things that are going to put you in a position to value yourself at a higher level. You know what I mean? It's just, we have the time to really do the work and to come back a lot stronger than we were when we left. And when life returns again and we're able, and we get back in that rat race, to have a different race this time. Press that restart button.
Right. And what do you hope the race looks like?
I hope it looks more like equality. But I do know that I don't expect it to come from the people that are over us, the producers and management, but that's going to come from us.
Yeah.
It's going to come from us holding people accountable consistently constantly. I'm a part of this civil rights organization, and they constantly remind us that the bus boycott was 381 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a long time. You know what I mean? That's a long time to be marching, strategizing, fighting. So when it comes to theater, the work is just beginning. People's eyes being open are just beginning. But what does that look like when things open back up and you really want that job?
Those were some great episodes. Please feel free to go and listen to those in their entirety, either for the first time or again. I'm going to take a break this month from releasing new episodes, so you have more than enough time to do so. I will return December 1st, 2021, with a couple new episodes to wrap up Season 3. In the meantime, go back and listen to your favorite episode, or send me a message and let me know who has been your favorite guest and why. Please feel free to visit this episode's show notes for links to get in touch with my guest, as well as a link to rate and review my podcast on Podchaser. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, all you have to do is scroll down to the rate and review section. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and share this episode with at least one friend. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon.